Turn up the volume. Turn up the flavour. Wings, beers and sporting glory. Only at Winghouse. Welcome to Saturday League Kickoff.
Well, it's that time again on a Saturday morning for Saturday League Kickoff, and, well, the finals straight as we get into the finals. And the teams that have been used to playing finals for many, many years, Webby, they start cracking the whip. They start making a bit of a statement, don't they? And we're here right now.
It's business time.
It is.
You can smell it. I think that's what it is. You can smell the finals just around the corner. Just another month to go.
Yep, exactly. And we've started to see some of those teams flex their muscle already in round 23. Still so much more to come across the NRL and the NRLW as well. Unfortunately, some of the conditions, some of the cities that are being played in have got terrible conditions. So wherever you are watching or listening live through Fox League or right across the SEN network, we hope you've got good weather. I know that in some parts of southeast Queensland, terrible weather. In Sydney, some bad weather. Let's hope that Webby can brighten it up for you on a Saturday morning.
That's what I do.
How are you going to brighten it up?
I put smiles on people's faces.
Well, I've been brightening his morning up because I've been teaching him simple words like buoy. You've never heard the word buoy.
No.
So if I call someone a buoy.
That's a Queensland term, is it?
So
what's a buoy?
0457 736 736. If you've heard if I call you and say, oh, he's such a buoy.
A top bloke.
Well, I'll leave it up to the listeners.
Oh, hook and tease.
Yeah, hook and tease in the biz.
It's like Adam Dewey, but with a B.
Exactly. And we're going to talk about Adam Dewey very, very soon.
Good.
As we said, text the show like you do each and every Saturday morning. And welcome to everyone, wherever you are watching and listening. But also, if you want to give us a call, we love your phone calls. 1300 01 1170 is the number. And we've had a lot of calls from around the country over the last, 17, 18 weeks. People that have got things on their mind that have got nothing to do with what we're talking about. And that's what we love. That's what we love.
Sorry, we have no idea what we're talking about. So make sure you call in, text, and we'll get back to you.
Like Braden in Perth always does, well, every day, but even on a Saturday. Morning, boys. Happy Saturday. Few good rounds so far. Hope today's the same. Well, he's a Gold Coast Titans fan, so he's hoping for a win tomorrow against the Bunnies. And it looks as though there could be big news. Well, a fitness test that was passed by Latrell Mitchell yesterday in the captain's run means that he'll potentially play tomorrow against the Titans on the Gold Coast. And Magpie Swanee has texted in straight away and said, good morning, have we got any updates on Will Warbrick from the Storm? Well, we know that he started running about 2 or 3 weeks ago, concussion protocols, and looks like he'll definitely make himself available anyway, probably in the next couple of weeks, I'm hearing.
Okay.
But at the moment, Grant Anderson's going great. You got Xavier Coates, one of the best wingers in the comp at the moment, Webby. So I think Will Warbrick initially will come through probably Queensland Cup.
It's going to be. It's. I know it's a long. It's still a month to go.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating competition.
Yeah.
I got to say. You know, just the way that the teams they look like they're going to pop their head up as the competition favourites, and then they'll have a loss or something will happen. We're going to update you on what happened with the Broncos injuries a little bit later in the show. That's obviously going to have a big effect on their season. But if you can say definitively who's going to win the comp at this point, then you're a better judge than me and Sats, or maybe Sats.
I think it's starting to shrink, but I think.
It is. It is. So it's a competition.
Yeah. Hey, now the big news of the week are the Panthers trainer and also the West Tigers. We're not going to talk about it. It's been flogged all week.
No trainer gate.
Yep, exactly.
I'm going to have a little bit in my spotlight, but that's it.
We are going to talk about Shane Flanagan re-signing with your beloved Dragons as well. So we want your thoughts, Dragons fans. 0457 736 736. One of the most passionate supporter bases. You know what? I don't mind it. We're going to talk about that at greater length a little bit later on. Yeah,
I understand it.
Cam Munster and his future. Well, Braith Anasta, his agent, has come out and made a comment throughout the week, which I applaud Braith for doing as well. And well done to Cam Smith, not the golfer, the rugby league player, inducted into the Australian Sporting Hall of Fame throughout the week with some other notable additions as well. Yeah, just off the top of there was Tora Bright, there was Jason Dunstall, Leighton Hewitt as well. So well done, Cam. Can I ignorantly say I already thought he was? I know he's a rugby league Hall of Fame already.
That's right.
I thought he was in the Australian Sporting Hall of Fame. Such was his dominance.
Yeah, it seems like he should have. Well, when did he retire? Sort of 2020? 2020 was his last season. Yeah. It'd be surprising that he hasn't been in there sooner.
Absolutely. So well done, Cam. Enjoying life on the Gold Coast at the moment on his hobby hobby farm. Well, he calls it a hobby farm, but when you talk to his good mate Billy Slater, he says he's got 3 chickens.
That's enough.
That's not a farm.
That's enough.
Yep. Now, Webby
Is
always...
he a buoy?
Again, he's not a buoy. He's definitely not a buoy.
Okay.
Hey, Kel from Lithgow says, Webby always brightens my day.
Oh, thank you, Kel.
There you go. And Steve says, pumped for a big show, fellas. So are we. There's so much to talk about. We're going to talk about the Broncos. Hamstrung. Do you like that, what I've done there?
I do. I love it.
I should be in
Good.
editorials.
You should be writing headlines.
The Broncos are hamstrung. Yeah, 3 hamstring injuries to 3 key players in that game against the Melbourne Storm on Thursday night. We're going to talk about that game. Also, the game's cost Friday night as well. The defence from the Melbourne Storm, amazing. Exactly what you need. Still making a few sort of crucial errors that you don't need to make as a side. But defensively, that was probably one of the best defensive efforts we've seen throughout the season.
They did. It's sort of the performance you were looking for from the Storm. I will say this though, I thought they could after the 2 halves went off Mam and Reynolds. I thought they'd run away with it, Melbourne, but Brisbane were tough. They were tough in the face of adversity. So we'll see. As you said, we're going to talk about their injuries later in the show.
Forestville Matt says a buoy is what Hawaiians call an ocean buoy, pronounced buoy here in Australia. No.
That's what I said. That's what I said before we came on air.
Yeah. Hey, but like we do every Saturday, we like to get to our Saturday spotlight. Webby,
The spotlight.
what are you highlighting?
Well, this is the only time we're going to talk about Trainergate today.
Okay.
I want to give a little bit of a rap to the man in the middle of it, Jaden Campbell.
No one's spoken about Jaden Campbell.
No one's spoken about Jaden Campbell, who was the one most affected by it.
Yep.
And he spoke yesterday. Take a listen to what Jaden had to say.
Everyone's sort of blowing up, I feel like it's a bit of a bigger deal than it should be. Corey's reached out to me and apologised, which I was really appreciative for. But like I said, I've still got accountability. I still have to make the kick. I think people are blowing up about it too much. Like I said, at the time I was upset, but still got to have accountability and make the kick.
What a class act! Or would you?
I just shut my eyes and I thought I was listening to Preston, his dad.
Well, I was going to say,
Preston would do exactly the same.
Well, I
thing.
said, what a class. As made in my notes here, what a class act. Although, what would you expect from the son of Preston Campbell?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's Jaden obviously was upset about it at the time, but the way that he put it all back into perspective for the rest of us who have been raging about it all week, and I think just the fact that Jaden Campbell came out and said that as he did yesterday, that puts a line under this story. For me, it does.
Yep. He's a great young man.
And can we stop putting the word gate at the end of everything. Single rugby league story?
Webby Gate. When he comes out with something controversial, Webby Gate.
It's because if we don't, it's going to be Gate.
Hey, well done to it's like Gout.
Similar, but not.
Well done to Corey, the trainer from the Panthers, for reaching out to Jaden also. I think that's a class act. Well done. He knows that he did wrong, but in saying that, yeah, Jaden Campbell is a kid. He's a beautiful kid. Always has been a real stable kid as well. And again, why wouldn't you with his mum and dad, Lee and Preston? But in saying that also, the Gold Coast Titans know this. And I think I hope Preston knows this as well. That whole club can be built around that young man.
So are they going to
26
when are they going to re-sign him?
Well,
or extend him?
All comes down to salary caps. Every club's got these salary caps they've got to try and juggle.
So he's off at the end of next year, isn't he? Yeah.
I'm led to believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's got November 1. I'm sure they'll be circling. I'd be surprised if the Titans don't stitch him up sooner than later.
Yep.
What's your spotlight, Sats?
My spotlight is Adam Doueihi. Well done. Re-signing with the Tigers further 2 years. Now, his form this year, there were periods throughout the year when people were calling for his sacking.
Demise.
Yeah, he's playing the centres and he's shifting into 5/8. I remember talking to Tim Sheens a couple of years ago when he was at the Tigers, and he described Adam Doueihi to myself and Matty Rogers. He said he's the alpha male of the group. He's the one that everyone sort of turns to off the field as well, training, whatever it may be. And when we heard that, it sort of gave me a completely different opinion and a different light of Adam Doueihi. And I watched him in a completely different way, watching him play rugby league. And you can see when he's on the field, he loves to get involved. He loves to be that player that tries to turn the game like the alphas do inside. So well done, Adam Doueihi, for sticking solid with the Tigers as well. He obviously sees something internally that everyone on the outside is always trying to hammer them for and trying to put a dent in their armour, is that he feels as though they have got a really good future. But what I loved about it also is he talked about when he did his knee for the third time, sitting in the dressing sheds and the role that Benji played in that, how the coach dropped. He then became a person that really cared about him. And he's had some really good mentors, Benji, when it comes to having that great empathy for your players. And he just said that's what stood out for me, that when I had my third injury and I didn't know whether I was going to get back on the field again, Benji was there for me. So it goes a long way.
It does.
Goes a long
it
way.
does. You know,
Yep.
and he's played some great footy of late, hasn't
Yep.
he? You know, so and it's good for the Tigers to show faith in him as well.
It's interesting what position he is now. You know, because you've got Latu Fainu and, of course, Jerome Luai. He's got to be the 13.
He's a lock, yeah. He has to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And still play a really significant role like the halves do as well. So you can join us anytime. 1300 01 1170 is the open line number. And also send us a text, 0457 736 736. Parra need to chase Jaden Campbell very hard. Well, I think most clubs will try and chase Jaden Campbell really hard if he gets to November 1. But that's something the Gold Coast Titans have to deal with. We're going to talk about all the games that are coming up across Saturday and Sunday. Huge weekend of rugby league. Like I said, in the NRL and the NRLW. But also, we're going to focus on the games that have already happened. So let's start that with the Raiders 28 up against the Seagulls 12. And they returned to the top of the ladder because the Melbourne went into first place based on their for and against. They're very strong for and against for 24 hours. But this is a tough game. This is a really tough game for the Raiders. The Eagles are always going to be one of those sides that, you know, they're still on the precipice of the top 8 position, and many are waiting for Canberra to fall over, and you can't stay up for that long. But this team continually show that they're one of those very few teams that can win this comp this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always find it funny with games like this that you can easily forget some moments in a losing team. The first try to Tom Trebojevic was one of the tries of the year.
Tolu Kola.
Where Kola's run basically the length of the field and the kick and the bounce, and Turbo scored the first try of the match in the 3rd minute, and it was like, well, what could happen here? You know what? They had their chances, Manly. They really did. They had so many opportunities on Canberra's line where they should have scored, and if they had have executed better, as they like to say, they could have really troubled Canberra. But Canberra's class and their just their ability to grind it out was got them there in the end, didn't they?
Yeah, the good part about this game for Canberra and for Ricky, I think they would have looked at that and realised that they were putting a heap of pressure on Manly really early on, and then Manly were able to go from a kick return. They've gone pass to their quick man on the outside, get on the outside, score that try. And straight away, Canberra have had to say, right, we've got to reassess on the run here, and we've got to get back into the grind and not panic. So I think they took one step forward, Canberra, last night with that win against Manly, because they could have allowed Manly to get out to that lead at half time. They've had to chase in the second half like they've been doing, but they took control of the game, the tempo of the game. They got the tempo of the game back in their favour and were able to come home in the end, like I said, 28 points to 12.
It's a good sign of a good team that can do that and bounce back from a loss like they did. It's been said more than once this week. It was almost like the loss they had to have, Canberra.
Last week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Against the Dragons.
Yeah, everyone gets destabilised.
Little reality check.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone will start questioning you, but it seems like Canberra have needed the halftime break for Ricky to realign them again, and whether he gets under their skin and rips.
I know he would have realigned them.
Yeah, exactly. He'd love to do it physically sometimes, wouldn't he? But in saying that,
he can be quite cranky. I've noticed.
But to do it on the run, like you said,
that's right.
That's a sign of a team that's maturing really well.
Ethan Strange, obviously, the 3 tries and just is such a great runner of the ball, and the footwork's fantastic. They lose obviously. Fogarty at the end of this year to the team they played last night.
Yep.
But with Ethan Sanders, that's what I love about Canberra. There's their ability to just have these players coming through to back the juniors, to back their recruitment, and be patient, and that's what's paying off for this club.
That's the art of recruiting. If you're a recruitment manager, the art of recruiting is going to a club like Canberra and making it successful. Peter Mulholland did a great job, God rest his soul.
The great Skull, rest in peace, Skull.
Yeah, they've lost Joel Carbone to the Roosters. That's the art of recruiting when you go to a place like Canberra.
Canberra pride themselves on not holding on to a player too long, you know?
Yep.
and they're sort of being rewarded for it. Now, I know we're going to talk about the Dragons and re-signing Shane Flanagan, and I don't want to make too many comparisons to them, but again, and I've said it on this show before, Ricky is coaching like a coach that's not coaching for his job.
Yep.
He's coaching for a win. He's not coaching for the next win. He's coaching for sustained success, and that's what they're getting.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And they're giving they deserve their place atop the ladder.
Absolutely. Now, before we talk about Ethan Strange, let's get Ricky Stewart talking about the actual win last night.
I think from the season we've had, that's a very rewarding response. We're disappointed with our second half last week. You can't win games of football when you're making 14 errors with the footy, and that's what we did last week. We just didn't give ourselves an even opportunity. But we bounced back the way a good football team should bounce back.
Now, Ethan Strange, again, amazing, this kid. 20 years of age. He was in the Roosters junior rep system. He's from the Central Coast. His father, John, of course, coaches the Roosters, NRLW, and the New South Wales Blues. His sister, Jasmine, plays for the Roosters, a dual premiership winner as well. So, this kid knows how to play footy. He's a kid that has been, since coming onto this earth, his father has shaped him to be a rugby league player, and you see what he's doing at such a young age. Would it surprise you? And when they go away on these tours overseas, they always take one player,
A bolter.
like a development player, to get used to what rep footy looks like. We see Queensland and New South Wales do it in Origin, a player that's not going to possibly play, but they just want to get them to learn what it's like.
Yeah, he'd be a good one.
Would it surprise if he got picked?
It would.
Yep.
It would. Just because it's only a short sort of
Three tests.
three test burst. But if anyone deserved a start, it'd be Ethan. Just in that role.
Yeah.
Just to be amongst the guys. A lot of coaches do it. It's worked over the years for both in Origin camps. Turbo was one of them for New South Wales.
Yeah.
They brought him on. He was part of that New South Wales system for a couple of years, and then when he came on, really killed it. They should do the same maybe with Ethan Strange for the Kangaroo Tour.
Yep. Wouldn't surprise me.
Ashes Tour. Are we calling it a Kangaroo Tour?
No, it's not a Kangaroo Tour.
I know.
You talk to the Kangaroos, and they get a little bit. They
don't like it, do they?
They don't like it.
Yeah, it's an Ashes Tour.
Yep. They say if anyone who calls an Ashes Tour a Kangaroo Tour, they're a buoy. No,
I'll tell you what, this better be a good description.
I've got to look through here. No one's come up with it yet. I haven't looked through all of them yet, but I will during the break. Okay, I'll reveal what a buoy is.
Because the suspense is killing me. What could it be? What's a buoy?
Yeah, honestly, it's not that exciting.
I'll tell you what, you talked it up.
Yeah. I love watching Ethan Strange is one of those players that makes me want to watch the game. If I'm...
You would consider paying for a ticket to watch him play.
Yeah,
that's how good he is.
And he's just so mature. And he's the best defensive six in the game as well. That's probably part of the game that everyone seems to forget about. The 3 tries was amazing. And Ricky Stewart, well, he was asked about Ethan Strange after the game.
For a young player such as Ethan, to be able to give off energy to his teammates it's similar to Laurie Daly when Laurie was a young player playing. And I know I'm talking about big shoes to fill, and you're putting too much pressure on Ethan. Well, bad luck. Handle it. If you're ever going to make it in this game, you've got to handle pressure, and he will.
Wow.
He plays a lot like Laurie. Laurie used to get you as a defender. He'd get the ball at speed, and he'd start sort of heading towards the corner post, and you'd start chasing, and then he'd stop on the dime
and cut back in.
Cut straight back in.
Yeah.
Like in NFL, you're talking about cutting. He cut straight back in. He did it again last night. He did it on Daly Cherry Evans, actually, and they tied up Daly Cherry Evans' inside defender, got him to commit, and when Ethan got the ball, he just knew that if he came off that left foot, he'd be able to straighten up and score. And yeah, I
like that from Ricky. Like that's journalists usually get bashed up for making comparisons between young players and the greats, but to hear it from your coach and for him to say, you know what, you've got to suck that up and accept it, and if you can't handle pressure, then you shouldn't be, at this. You're not going to make it at this level.
It's the only way.
People don't like the way that Ricky talks in media conferences. I love it because he's so honest.
Yep.
And raw.
Well, you got to be brutal. You got to be brutal with some players who who can handle it, and obviously he's identified that Ethan says, you know what, you're a number 6. Our wins depend on you and Jamal and those sort of guys. And if you can't handle the pressure, unfortunately, we've got to find someone who can.
Talking of pressure, Manly.
They'll miss the finals. Yeah, they'll miss the finals. And I'm concerned about Jake Trbojevic. That's what he's had his third concussion this year since April or May.
Yeah, and that one was a bad one.
It was a bad one.
He ran into a piece of concrete, otherwise known as Josh Papali'i.
His shoulder, yeah. Now, normally Jake doesn't tackle up around the shoulder. Normally his contact is down under the ball. He's got probably the best tackle technique in the competition. So to be able to tackle up that high and cop the shoulder, it's not. What I did love about it is the concern from everyone, the Canberra players, but the
shows you the respect for him.
The vision of Tom telling him to go off the field, yeah, that was pretty powerful.
Yeah,
really powerful.
Wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him again this season.
Yeah, exactly. To answer your question about Manly, well, they'll miss the finals. I think Anthony Seabold will be there in 2026.
I think he will be too.
Yep. The Daly Cherry Evans situation, and I'm never critical of Daly because he's a wonderful player. Off the field, he's a wonderful human being as well, very respectful. But the whole decision around what was going to happen with Daly, it didn't play a major part. It's played a minor part of the way the Manly have played this year.
I reckon it's played a bigger part.
Part?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's been that didn't help a month into the season. I thought it was an interesting line from Scott Penn, the chairman in the Daily Telegraph today, saying that there's no issues with seeds. We had a board meeting this week and we understand some of the pressure we've had on our forward pack with injuries. People see an opportunity to throw a few grenades, which they have, but he's got the full support of the board. Always a concern when you hear a chairman say that.
Can chairman and owners use a different line, please? He's under contract.
He's got sort of the support of the board.
We'll review the season like we do every other season at the end of the year. Okay. Don't talk to us about it because it's a non-issue at the moment. Simple as that. Go away.
It's media management.
Webby, go away. That's what they should be saying.
I didn't ask it. It's the Daily Telegraph.
You would have asked it.
No, I don't ask these questions.
Is the buoy the Queensland version of what they do? What the West players do? The quad or whatever it is.
The quad.
Yeah, a little bit like that, Michael.
The cod.
Yeah.
Or the
quad. Yeah. Anyway, up next, we're going to talk about the Broncos. We're going to talk about Munster. We're going to talk about some of the other games across Thursday and Friday night as well, and we're going to get to your texts as well. This is Saturday League Kickoff, Sats and Webby. Welcome back to the show, Saturday League Kickoff. Hope you're joining us happy and healthy on a Saturday morning. I know you've woken up on the good side of the bed this morning.
Have I?
Yep. Now, Shoey from Burwood Road said, guys, please, if you can't say the word...
Buoy.
No, buoy. Don't attempt it. It's offensive to attempt it with the West Tigers and the Bulldogs. I don't know how to say it. Unfortunately, I'll apologise if there is any offence. But we said we weren't going to talk about it. But we are.
Well, I'm not.
Yeah, so I apologise.
Sorry, mate.
Shall we? Hey, Broncos, Munster. We're going to talk a little bit more about Shane Flanagan, his extension at the Dragons. We've got some Dragons fans who are already weighing in on 0457 736 736. And you can have your say on that text line. Or if you want to give us a call, 1300 01 1170 is the number. Storm, 22, defeat the Broncos 2. And the big news coming out of this game should be how the Melbourne Storm played, how good they were. Still making some, again, we were saying earlier on, still making some of those unforced errors, which is not usually what Melbourne are known for. It's usually their attention to detail is usually outstanding. But defensively, their attention to detail was amazing. Yes, the Broncos lost some players, some key attacking players, but still, they didn't concede any cheap tries or any tries at all for that nature. They went to 2-0 first. So didn't concede any more points, didn't put themselves in a position to concede more points as well, and defended really well when they needed to for long periods of time. So
they're very good in milestone matches. Harry Grant's 100th for the club, and he had an absolute belter. I
know he played games for the West Tigers as well, but I thought when they said it's a milestone match for Harry Grant, I thought we're talking 150.
No.
He's still such a young man.
100, he is. Yeah. Long way to go. And, I was on NRL 360 this week and we had Harry on there and I asked him, it seemed like his game had gone to another level since Origin 1, that defeat. And he said that was the case. He, and the way that he's played since that match just shows you what a.
I think he's the best player in the comp at the moment.
Oh,
just purely based on form post-Origin.
I can't believe Andrew Johns this week said he was in the top 3 hookers he's ever seen.
Yeah.
Fair rap from the 8th Immortal.
Well, you got Benny, Cam. Benny changed the way hookers played. He became like another halfback.
Bedsy.
Danny Badderas, Cam Smith. Yeah, definitely Harry Grant will be there by the time he retires.
Noel Kelly.
Noel Kelly, team of the century.
Team of the century.
Of course, yeah.
Do you know there's a photo of me wearing his blazer at that function?
Ned Kelly. What a great man.
And that's about all I can say about that night.
Yep. Great fighter too.
He's a great man, Ned.
Yep.
Rest in peace to you, old mate.
Now, if I told you that Harry Grant hasn't won a comp, he hasn't won a comp. He didn't play in 2020.
He didn't play in
was at
2020.
West Tigers.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's right.
And Cam was still playing. So the big news also coming out of this game is the injuries. The key injuries to Mam and Reynolds in the same play, mind you, from the Xavier Coates intercept. Can I just say on that, the skill that he showed would not only take the intercept, transfer the ball, palm, then also swerve away from his chasers as well. And Selwyn Cobbo, great effort from the far side. I love the body language of Selwyn Cobbo at the moment. Last week against South, he was involved in everything. On Thursday night, for him to chase that try to Xavier Coates and put him into touch as well. But unfortunately, later on in the game, sustained a hamstring injury. So, not ideal, and all grade 2 hamstring injuries, I'm led to believe, which could be anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, if you believe what the NRL physio says on social media, and he's usually bang on the money.
Well, Michael Maguire said this morning in the Courier Mail that Renault's 4 to 6, but the other 2 look like the ones that are going to be in greater doubt for the rest of the year.
Really? Well,
yeah, Ezra and Selwyn, which surprises me because Renault looked like he was the one most effective.
Exactly, he was the one
off the field.
The sniper shot, really, it's the old sniper shot one, isn't it? And Michael Maguire was asked about the injuries post game.
Yeah, they're all 3 hamstrings, which is quite strange because the boys are pretty measured about what they do with the players throughout the week. I've got to say I'm really proud of the way the players performed. We came down here and they prepped really well, and I felt that the players fought right to the death. I've never been a part of a game where you lose your 2 halfbacks and then the chopping and changing of players, and they were still in the game in some way towards the back end. So it says a lot about the character of the team.
They were good. They were really, really brave, the Brisbane Broncos. Wouldn't expect anything less. But in saying that also, they've still got another couple of injuries. Brendan Piakura, Xavier Willison out as well. But they are very fortunate. They have the luxury of putting Ben Hunt into the halves.
Yes.
And they've got Billy Walters to play hooker. They've got Tyson Smoothie. Blake Moser is out with he's got a shoulder and a wing, his arm and a wing, a brace at the moment. He's wing and a brace. So they've got the cover for hooker. They've got a cover for the half. But they'll find it difficult to cover
Ezra. Yes, yeah, but if there's worse combinations than Hunt and Reynolds in the halves.
Okay, I'll throw this at you
because they used it earlier in the year when he wasn't there.
Can I throw this here?
Throw it at me.
This is
throw it at me, baby.
Purely a conspiracy, not a conspiracy. Something else. I don't know. Theory.
A buoy.
Not a buoy. Reece Walsh to 6.
Oof.
Selwyn Cobbo to 1.
He's got to start throwing the ball backwards. That's the only thing with Reece.
Yeah,
I love Reece.
He plays like a 5'8".
He does. He gets He's getting bashed up, and he's But you still want him trying things.
Yep.
You know what I mean. You don't want him to go completely into his shell. He's a young player.
Dougie in Melbourne said the Broncos didn't have one line break. They did have that one where Payne Haas picked up the ball and just for a front row scooted about 40 metres. He looked like a centre, but that wasn't officially classed as a line break. So. You're right.
They certainly had They had numbers on that left side a few times, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they just needed some better passings. But
Neil from Darwin says, guys, he's sick of hearing about the South's injuries. Now, this is totally off topic, but the reason why I'm reading this out is they have bigger problems at the club. Neil from Darwin. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on, actually, as a club in focus in the second hour. South Sydney Rabbitohs this week. Now, when we look at this game, the Melbourne Storm. We talk about after Origin, you've got to take 2 or 3 weeks to really get your players back and get them fresh. And part of the performance team is really important for them to get them fresh psychologically more so than physically. do they deserve to be the competition favourites?
Melbourne. They do, but it's a. I just feel like we haven't seen the best Melbourne team performance yet.
Yep.
And probably because they haven't had their best team on the park.
Yep.
A little bit like 2020. I know that was a weird year because of COVID.
Yep.
They didn't really start clicking into gear. They said clinking into gear. Didn't start clicking into gear until right before the finals, and then when the business end of the season was there, they got it done.
Yeah, exactly. They just find a way. It's like coming into a Group 1, isn't it, for Melbourne? He just knows how to prepare them.
That's right.
Better than most.
He's the Bart Cummings of rugby league.
He is. Now, 1300 01 1170 is our open call number. And Steve from Brisbane wants to have a chat about the Broncos. How are you, Steve?
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
Going well,
Steve.
What you think is going to happen next week when the Broncos run out again? I heard you say about reach to 5'8" and everything like that. But aren't we looking at weakening more spots than we need to do? If we go back to the first 9 rounds of this competition, Corey Parks was starting hooker. Billy Walters come off the bench to replace him. Ben Hunt was playing 6. Jesse Arthurs will automatically come back for Sol and Cobbo. And why don't they try KB Black? He's played every round for the Q Cup this year. Yes, he's young. He's the next successor at this stage to Adam Reynolds, because Jock Madden, who plays with Wynnum, I think, this weekend for the first time in 14 weeks.
Yeah.
Is Black ready for
Kobe
it?
Black?
Yeah. Is he there yet?
Well, you don't know.
How old is he, mate? Do you know how old he is? How old is he?
Yeah, Corey's 20 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
He's played in the
you're
Queensland.
good enough, you're old enough.
Played in the
as they say.
Queensland 20 size, hasn't he, Steve? But also, he's got a booming kicking game, a massive kicking game as well. So where you lack in some areas through inexperience or positionally, if you've got a really big kicking game, at least you can just keep turning the side around. Is he ready for it? I don't think they need to use him at the moment, Steve, because they have got Benny Hunt to throw in there as well. Yeah,
It's going to be interesting to see what Michael Maguire decides.
And
I'll tell you what, and it's not like it's an easy game against the Dolphins at Suncorp
you're right.
next Saturday. So it's business time.
Can I tell you what he has outlined there, Steve? The depth. They've got a lot of depth. I mean, they've got guys like Dean Mariner and guys like that were playing second grade a few weeks ago. And then they've got Takarapani and Cobbo and Jesse Arthurs, Benny Hunt, Corey Pakes he mentioned as well.
You know, the sad thing about it is, it's just like, I was talking to a lot of people about this in the lead up to this game on Thursday night. If Brisbane get going, if they can get their shit together, like, they should be the competition favourites.
Yeah, you're right.
They're just as good as the other teams on paper. But can you remember 2 halves going down with the same injury in the same play?
No, I can't.
That's incredible, isn't it?
First for everything.
I
this
was
game.
sort of texting back and forth with Michael Maguire yesterday. There's a little bit of a name drop.
Oh yeah, massive Bruiser there. Yeah.
And he just said he has never seen anything like it.
No.
Yeah, he can't believe what had happened the night before.
Josh says, I also said it'd be a good shift for Walsh to 5'8" alongside Ben Hunt. I'd have him at second receiver, sweeping out the back like he does, with Cobbo taking on Dylan Edwards style, north-south style. Yeah, I don't think it's such a bad thing. I think what Michael Maguire has got to realise now, and he's smart enough than all of us, is that they've got to defend their way to a potential premiership now.
Yes.
There's all got to be about defence and let our key players like Reece and Benny Hunt and those guys create the points. Okay, let's get on to Cameron Munster. So, Braithen Astor, his agent, and also very good friend. It's a great relationship between Braithen and Cam. And
he's like a Jerry Maguire-like figure.
Exactly.
Braith.
Don't have all the clients.
No.
Just have a select
He's the
few.
ambassador.
And you hug them and you love them.
The ambassador to Quan.
Yeah. I wonder if he wears that.
Do you remember that? Do you know what that term is?
The ambassador Quan.
Ambassador to Quan. Don't you?
Is that peace?
No, that's in like Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
That's what he calls his manager. Anyway.
That's what Cuba Gooding Jr. called him. Yeah, exactly.
If you're a kid of the 90s, you'll understand what I'm saying.
But what does Quan mean?
It's like everything.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Like everything.
Yeah. So he announced
ambassador to Quan as his manager.
He announced during the week that he's not shopping Cam Munster around. 1, because you're not allowed to. But 2, Melbourne
not allowed to. Not before November 1.
Melbourne love him, and he loves Melbourne. And now, I can see merit in this. I can see that Cameron Munster could go to potentially the Perth Bears. But one, he's got to ask for a release from a club who signed him as a teenager, who turned him into a man, who have turned him into a leader,
Have
turned
stood
him into
by
one
him
of the
through ups and downs.
best players in the game, and will potentially go down as one of our great number sixes in the game as well by the time he's retired as well. So there's a lot that would pull him towards Melbourne as opposed to pulling him away from Melbourne. Now, I know he's got a great relationship with Mel. We get that. But he's got a better relationship with Cam Munster in the city of Melbourne, his teammates as well. Jerome Hughes re-signing. So the biggest question we want to talk about is about the Perth Bears. And really quickly before we get to the break is that should the Bears be... Actually, let's talk about this a little bit more after the break.
Sure.
Okay? Because we've got Ivan Cleary coming up very soon.
And they're screaming for his number off me, and I've got to send it to them.
After we talk to Ivan, we're going to touch on this a little bit more about the Bears. Should they be given dispensation? Should they be allowed to talk to players before November 1 of this year for 2027?
Maybe not.
I don't think so. But we'll talk about that.
I'm undecided.
And a whole lot more. 1300 01 1170 is the open line number. If you want to text the show, 0457 736 736. On the other side, we're going to have the Panthers winning coach from last night, Ivan Cleary. Yeah, I thought your bench last night, Scotty Sorensen as well, were amazing last night. Now, some things I noticed last night, and I'm sure you're a big coach, and your club is really good at focusing on the little things that a lot of people may not see during games, and I know that you highlight them during your training sessions after games, Ivan. But at 32-0 down last night, the desperation, there was, I think Dylan Edwards pushed a ball over the dead ball line. There was also Milky Jenkins did also. Mitch Kenny nearly takes that try off Matty Croker, which is the only try that he conceded from a kick as well. So at 32-0 down, that hunger and desperation was still there in defence.
Yeah, well, I think that's what's separating a lot of games at the moment, and the teams that are winning are the ones that, can save tries or just come up with big plays and absorb that pressure that comes every game at some point. And that certainly was a big turnaround for us this year, where early in the season we weren't able to absorb pressure. We were conceding points. Which at the end of the day just gives the opposition confidence as well. So that's something that we turned around, and then we started winning as a result of that, I think. Regardless of the score and whatever else, it's just something that we proud. We like to keep our line intact as much as we can. The less points you can see, the less pressure on your attack as well. So hopefully we can keep that sort of desperation going.
If you must be happy with the way that Nathan's bounced back since Origin 3. I think I remember communicating with you at the time, the way that he handled that defeat and just the ridiculous pressure and criticism that followed it. I thought it just said everything about your son, the way that he handled that. You must be pretty proud of the way that he sort of got over that and moved on throughout the season for Penrith.
Yeah, really proud, Webby. Because that hit him pretty hard. Like he was, without a doubt, like he was. He took it to heart, like as you would have all seen. But I think the biggest thing he did was he owned it. And then once he did that, just through now experience as well, like he's just got a process where, I think he's able to get over it quicker. He really wanted to play that weekend, whereas originally we didn't really want him to. But I think that helped. Came out and played well against Parramatta, I think it was, and that helped that process. But since then, he's had a few niggly injuries that he's gotten over. He looks fresh. He's been playing really well. So I'm definitely proud of him. It's I often wonder why anyone would want to play halfback for New South Wales. But I guess the good comes with the bad. So that's the way it goes.
Did you teach him how to kick 40-metre field goals like he did last week? Have you ever seen a field goal like that? That was pretty incredible.
The one against Parramatta a couple of years ago was pretty
good.
That's right.
Yeah, he can nail them.
Yeah. That was that was amazing. I've never seen anyone run back that far. And it was just one of those plays. Like I haven't thought about that this morning. So I thought, geez, like at the end of the day, if he misses that kick, we lose that game. All these little things add up over a long season, but it was a pretty good play. Yeah,
the pass from Mitch Kenny, a lot of people aren't talking about that. It was about 18 metres, whatever it was. It was pretty good. Now before we let you go, I've really quickly, Luron Pataya and Isaiah Yeo, what's the prognosis on both of those returns?
Yeah, it's sort of similar, but they're different injuries. We fully expect them to be back before the end of the regular season, but we're just not sure. They're both, they're both getting better, but neither of them will play unless they're, I guess, fully functional. So I can't really tell you that much yet. But one thing's for sure, it definitely won't be Russian Yowie back. He's probably the one guy over this extended period of success that has pretty much played all the time. It's funny how things work out because the rest, I think, won't do him any harm. So, hopefully he'll be back soon, but he certainly won't be rushing him.
Good stuff. And from our good friends at Temper, we like to get the coaches to pick a player who would have slept well last night. So based on the coaches, who's a player that would have slept well last night due to their work rate or whatever it may be?
Oh, that'd be busy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Every week.
Yeah, he's always happy too, so that probably makes you sleep better.
Great stuff. Hey, Ive, I know it's a big thing coming on a Saturday morning, but a good win last night, and you move on again with the tough one again next week. You got a pretty tough run home, but that's the way you want it when you're leading into finals. Thank you very much for joining us on a Saturday morning, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks,
very gracious with his time on a Saturday morning, which is, we love it, the coaches and the players that have made themselves available for the time every Saturday morning, isn't it? It's a big thing to come on after a win. You got every media outlet trying to get in your face. So,
exactly.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ivan, and the Penrith Panthers Club. Let's get to a break here on Saturday League Kickoff, and we're going to get into the second hour and a lot of topics to talk about, and also the games across the weekend. A lot of support there. Carl from Cronulla says, great chat with Ivan, guys. Ask Ivan where Ashley Klein's best position is. Now, can you give my nan and uncle a shout out? They watch the show every Saturday. My uncle is a mad West Tigers man, Braden says. So there you go. There's a shout out to your nan and your uncle. And welcome to the show. And love that you watch each and every week. We're going to talk plenty in the second hour. We're going to talk about the team in focus, which is South Sydney Rabbitohs. So Bunnies fans, what are your thoughts? Get your texts in, 0457 736 736. And also we're going to talk about the Saturday, Sunday games. And also Shane Flanagan, who's re-signed for 2 more years, still had another year to go, Webby, at the Dragons, your beloved Dragons. Shout out to Brooksy, he's a mad Dragons fan. I think the coal miner, Shawnee Omerod's a Dragons fan as well. No, he's a Bulldogs fan. No, he's a Dragons fan.
I don't know.
James Magnuson, the swimmer, is a Bulldogs fan.
Yes.
Yeah, he is. Sorry to throw you under the bus there, but put you on the position. But we're going to talk about Munster.
There's many of us out there, Dragons fans.
There are. I remember going to a lot of the Queensland games in the past, and there was always the St George Dragons Queensland Supporters Club. They used to put a big sign up.
But it's all born out of their 11 years of winning the comp. And then, that's when my dad started following them, and that's why I started following them. Because if I didn't, then I wouldn't be allowed to eat.
We're a little bit like I was like that with South, my dad.
You had to support South.
Yeah.
Who do you support now?
Well, I'm still a South man.
But you're not a Penrith guy?
Well, I love Penrith because I love the district. I love being out there. I love the success we had.
Penrith grand final hero.
But South is the team that I followed ever since. And another team I've got a real emotional attachment to is the Gold Coast Titans because my dad started the Gold Coast in 1988.
Gotcha.
When they were the Gold Coast Giants. And they were sponsored by the Oz Rock Hotel, which is a pub in the King's Cross. And they went broke. And so before the season kicked off in 88, they had to take the major sponsor off the front of the jersey.
That's the most Gold Coast thing I've ever heard.
It's the most rugby league thing I've ever heard in years gone past.
You know what? I actually love all teams. There's no one team, when you get a bit older.
Well, I don't dislike teams.
I don't have the hatred.
Oh, no, actually, I lie.
Oh, who do you hate? Hater?
I once said to my father when I was leaving the Gold Coast, there was 3 clubs. He said, what 3 clubs? He said, there was South, Manly and Penrith. I said, I don't want to go to South because that's where you played. And you played in the 13 jersey, so that's not going to be an option. I said, so it's Penrith or Manly. He said, if you ever play for Manly, I'll never, ever watch you play another game of rugby league. So I made it easy. I went to the lower Blue Mountains.
There you go.
There you go.
It always cracks me up when fans go, if you write a negative story about a club, they go, you hate Manly or you hate Parramatta. It's like, no, I'm just writing a story about your club that you don't like.
Because your job is to find people accountable if they're not doing their role.
Or just if there's someone's not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And it's not
a
lot of time. Educate the listeners.
It's not my fault if your team rots the cap.
But you're not making these assumptions based on just your gut feeling. You do a lot of research behind any story.
Allegedly,
some do.
I do.
Some
do. Nobody else does.
We also want to talk about on the back of Cam Munster and always talk about him possibly having to get an early release from his Melbourne Storm contract. Now the Storm have said, well, Craig Bellamy has said, I'd be disappointed if he did ask for a release early, but for everything he's done for this club, if it means setting up his family even more, well, we wouldn't stand in his way. But we don't ever see him leaving Melbourne. It's been too close to his heart. It's been too much of a common in his life. So, but
it depends. I reckon, to be honest, it would require a big contract. You know what I mean? If they threw 1.8 at him a year, that's money you can't sort of really say no to. But he reminds me a little bit like Craig Bellamy.
Yep.
In the sense that every time Craig Bellamy has gone down the road of possibly leaving the Melbourne Storm, he just can't do it.
Yeah.
He can't even retire.
Yep.
Even when he's not going to be coaching against the Melbourne Storm. It sort of depends where Cameron Munster is in his life. Can I be honest with you? I'd love to see him finish at Melbourne.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him finish as a one-club player.
Yeah, I do too. And I don't think he'd go anywhere. And look, the interesting one, I know we're going to try and go into a discussion around the Bears and do they deserve to have dispensation around signing of players before November 1. If you're in clubland, you say no. But if you're a fan and when you look at the game as a whole, but with Bellamy, I should say, if just say he does finish at the end of next year when his contract finishes, do you still see Melbourne tying him up and doing some role?
I don't know. Only Bellyache could really answer that. Bellyache sort of reminds me a little bit like Wayne. I think they're coaches.
Yeah.
I can't see them becoming
a coaching advisor or anything like that.
A consultant
I
or
agree.
something like that.
Yeah.
They're either all in or they're not.
Yep.
And I think, I know he played that role for New South Wales. I don't think he played the biggest role that people seem to think.
Yep.
When I spoke to Craig Bellamy, I know people think I'm name dropping by saying that I spoke to someone. That's what journos do. It's called attribution. It's not being a Bruce. It's just doing my job.
Yep.
When I spoke to Craig Bellamy in the lead up to Origin 3, he made that point really clear. He said, I think people are overstating the hand I'm playing. I'm just sort of there in the background,
yep.
Giving Laurie advice.
Yep. Exactly, yeah. So, Stormy Daniel, who's a mad Melbourne supporter, has said, he's always said publicly he doesn't want to go anywhere as well. So, I agree. But let's look at the Bears, and there's been plenty of new teams that have come into the competition that haven't received any sort of dispensation or any sort of assistance when it comes to signing players before the given date. Now, the given date at the moment is November 1 of the year that you're coming off contract. Now, we've got the financial calendar, which finishes on June 30, starts July 1. Normal calendar, which sits on your fridge, goes from obviously January to December. Rugby League's calendar is November 1 to October 30, the end of 31st. So I was wondering whether October 31 or 30. I started doing that song in my head.
It does.
But,
and because that's Halloween.
It is too. But November 1, I say no. I say no, they shouldn't be given special dispensation. I've been in the situation with the Titans, and back then it was July 1 of the year you were coming off. So you only had players had to start moving to new clubs if it was in another state or in some cases another country. They had sort of 3 or 4 months to sort that out. And clubs were still comfortable in that situation. Now that you've been given an extra 6 or 7 months, I say no.
I agree with that. If anything, I reckon they should have a bigger marquee player allowance. If you're a new club and you need to build your club around a marquee, then you should have, let's for argument's sake say an extra 300,000.
Yep.
Just to try maybe that's not the figure, but just to crowbar them out of a club. And if you want to make them your number one player, then I think that money, you're going to need that money.
Yep.
And I think that's what both the Bears and in 2028 PNG will need. That said, though, PNG have got a sizable advantage in that they can offer, tax-free contracts.
Yep.
That's on the record from Peter Volandis, the ARL Commission chair, that if you that it's a tax incentive to go there. Whether that's going to be enough or not, that's the question.
Well, there's a whole new conversation about the salary cap. Then what's their salary cap look like? Because what they're invariably doing is working with a double salary cap, aren't they?
They are, but also...
So in the eyes of a player, he'll say, well, I'm going to sign for 500,000. Well, I'm going to lose 48, 49% of that tax.
But aren't you taxed on overseas earnings anyway?
You are, if the money's coming back into the country.
That's right.
Yeah.
So maybe it isn't the tax incentive that they're saying. Either way, it's going to be... from everything I'm hearing, there's both those franchises are a long way... Not a long way behind, but they've got a lot of work to do.
Well, the Bears had their first official board meeting throughout the week as well. James Bracey, is one of the the avid Bears fans from years gone by.
As I'm going to say, if it all goes wrong, I'm going to go directly after Bracey.
Yeah,
just make it
hold him accountable.
If they start losing, it's all on James.
Exactly.
Bracey.
Brisbane Eel says, Sats, I would have thought if PVL wanted to give the Bears dispensation, he would have done that already. On another note, how many black T-shirts does Webby own?
This is actually dark blue.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I'd argue that.
It is. It's dark blue.
I'd argue that.
Sorry for being fat and just having only dark T-shirts to fit into. But anyway, if you want to keep fat shaming me on TV, go ahead.
I think the Bears should be allowed to speak to some players. R360 is already doing it. We don't know whether that's going to go ahead yet.
Yeah, but R360 is another sport.
Yeah, true. Exactly. Okay, let's get on to your club, the Dragons. Shane Flanagan, contract extension, 2-year extension, takes him to the end of 2028. Now, at first I thought about this and I thought, you know what? Even if they had all their players on the field, would have they played finals this year? I'm probably thinking not. Probably would have just missed out. But in saying that, for a club that's some clubs are historically culled players, coaches, whatever it may be, and there's always a lot of instability around their signings or lack of signings or moving on coaches, whatever it may be. So I think in the face of instability, sometimes that's exactly, you need the opposite. You need stability. And I think the Dragons showing faith in the future of Shane Flanagan, the club, and they've obviously identified internally some areas where they've seen gross improvement.
I think they're a much tougher football team. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that.
Yeah.
They've extended him for 2 years on his current contract, end of 28. Like a lot of Dragons supporters out there, I would have been happy with the 1-year extension, but I understand the thinking. For too long at that club, there have been coaches, i.e. Anthony Griffin, and before that, in the last few years of his tenure, Paul McGregor, coaching for survival, and that's just not a great strategy. That's the argument is that he who was chasing Shane Flanagan. That's not the point. It's all about stability, which they are starting to get. They've got Andrew Lancaster, who is the chairman. I know is watching this show, the television kingpin, the Supremo at Channel 9 there, the board director at the 9 Entertainment Co. He's the chair for the next 3 years.
Yep.
They've got Tim Watsford. He's there for 3 years, the new CEO, who's former COO of Supercars. They've got Daniel Anderson.
I like when he came in, Tim, initially, and he was strong. He was strong, and I think that's exactly what the club needed.
And just I think they needed chance. That's we're not going to get anywhere by sacking the coach.
No, you're right. You're right. And I mean, Dean Young. The next question is what happens with Dean Young, because he's an outstanding assistant, and if you do your research on Dean Young, it's any day until he gets his own side as a head coach.
I'd hope Dean stays. Yeah, it sounds like he's been really important to him. But the Cole conundrum is going to be what Shane's remembered for in many ways, and how he plays that. But Shane Flanagan said yesterday that he's going to Cole's under no illusions that they're looking for halves.
Yep.
So at least they're having an honest conversation.
Exactly. 050 on the text line says, I need not to buy old players and concentrate on their youth. And Lordy says, Morning, guys. I reckon for sure if the Dragons would be fighting for the top 4 if we had a quality halfback, and if you don't get one next year, we'll be in the same spot next year as well. So when you look at players, Daniel Atkinson has been signed, and well, it remains to be seen how he goes when you say this is your side. He's shown a lot of promise, and I think he'll be a good. And Josh Kerr during the week, good signing, big, mobile, going back to the Dragons as well. So I think there are a couple of really good signings, and I've got no doubt, not knowing what their salary cap's like, whether there's going to be any more, because you've got the Couchman brothers, good players, Hamish Stewart, Dylan Egan, King Tongia. So you've got some really good young players coming through as well. It's all about keeping them on the field, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a frustrated Dragons player, a fan with the rest of them. But
Yep.
I do feel like I think we're up there. I'm very unprofessional saying we. They're up there with the.
I think people appreciate
with
the
with,
honesty,
with
right?
teams with teams that have lost by the smallest of margins.
Yep.
This year.
Yep.
The Dragons, I think they're either 1 or 2. So that they're thereabouts. As I said, they're a much better team under Shane Flanagan than they were in the 3 years previously.
Yep. Dragons should release a documentary called "Coaching to Survive," like the F1 series. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's you could do that for all the coaches in the NRL.
Yeah.
Coaching to survive.
And coming up next
I'm going
week,
to flog that.
we're going to talk about a team in focus, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Talk about another massive supporter base, probably one of top 2 outside of the Broncos, are the biggest supporter. But no, I think it's fair to say South should have a bigger supporter base than the Broncos.
Yeah.
Historically, yeah. Sats and Webby boys, Flano, great decision, signing him the right man for the job. He got us our only premiership, the Sharks, well respected. Kyle, yeah, he's so you've got a lot of Dragons fans that don't mind the decision as well. Has the Dragons let any players go that have excelled elsewhere under Flanagan? I don't know. Off the top, gonna have to research that. But let's get to a break here on Saturday League Kickoff, and you get involved in the show like you are each and every Saturday. 0457 736 736, or if you want to give us a call, South Sydney fans, Dragons fans, 1300 01 1170 is the number. Wish we could.
It's blue, for God's sake.
I wish we could film or just tape what happens during the breaks as well. It's not blue, it's black, your shirt. Hey, Sats, the coal miner is a doggies man, as is the missile. I'm sorry. Apologise to Webby Bulldog Bob. I apologise calling someone a Dragons fan when they're not.
Oh, when they're a filthy Bulldog supporter. I'm kidding. I still have 1985 grand final trauma.
Hey, now let's talk about a team in focus. South Sydney Rabbitohs. We've touched on a team in focus the last couple of weeks.
Now, there is trauma.
Injury plagued all year, and I know that they will do an end-of-season review into why a lot of the players are injured. If they're specifically the same sort of injury, but they're different injuries, Webby. Campbell Graham's had an array of injuries over the last sort of 18 months. We've got calf muscles, we've got quads, we've got hamstrings.
I blame Heffron Park.
Don't jump into that narrative,
it's cursed.
Please.
It's cursed.
Yeah. So when you look at their team on paper,
it's cursed?
I don't think it's cursed.
I'm kidding.
There's no bodies buried underneath Heffron Park, is there?
I don't know.
That
it
we
might
know
have been
of.
an old gravesite.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
that's what it is.
Yeah, the talk of the week has been Lewis Dodd dropped. He's only played a handful of games at South on a big contract, $650,000, reportedly a year contract. That's not Lewis Dodd's fault.
It's not Lewis Dodd's fault.
That's South's fault for paying someone who was untried in the NRL for that amount. And well done to Lewis Dodd and his agent for getting that contract. It's not ideal, but what I would say about Lewis Dodd, I heard you guys talking about this yesterday on Morning Glory with Matty Johns about he has been put into a side.
We occasionally talk football on that show.
That has been riddled with injuries. And all of a sudden to go to you're a guy that's never played in the NRL, it's a completely different speed, a completely different when it comes to the collision of the UK Super League. Here you go and run this side when you've got a lot of your key players out. It's difficult for any player. It doesn't matter if you're a young player coming in that's played in the junior rep system or you play coming from the UK, it's difficult to do.
The way it's been explained to me when they picked Ashton Ward to partner Jamie Humphries in the halves for this game against the Titans tomorrow, that's when Lewis Dodd said to Bennett, is this I basically asked where he stood, and Bennett said you're free to go and talk to other clubs, which I've got to say I'm not entirely surprised about.
I heard you talking about this yesterday, and so from the reports throughout the week, it seems as though that South instigated the talk between both Lewis and Clubb. But you're saying Lewis
maybe he. Look, until it comes from Lewis Dodd's mouth,
Yep.
you can't believe anything in this game. But I don't think it was like, Bennett, you can get out of here as soon as possible. I think it's been a grown-up conversation between both parties. I'm not surprised. I do think it's unfair on the kid that he has barely had a chance to show what he's capable of in a team that has been riddled with injuries. You know, one of the worst
Yep.
injury crises we've seen in a club for a long time. He's played 6 games and started in 3. But he's come up with 1 line break in that in those 6 appearances. It's hard to get a read on exactly whether this bloke's up to NRL standard or not, or whether he's can have a long NRL
The
career.
kid can play.
Yeah, he can
can
play.
play,
Like
yeah.
you're not playing for St Helens if you can't. You know, like he's
Well, you don't come out for a World Club Challenge and play against the Panthers and beat them in the wet. In Penrith, mind you, not in the UK where it's usually played, but in Penrith. It shows you've got some ability. And, you know, I know he hasn't come up with a lot of line breaks, but a lot of halves don't have a lot of line breaks themselves. You know, it takes time to build combinations.
Sorry,
and
not line break. Sorry, I mean
line break assist.
I mean try assist.
Try assist. So, you know, it takes time to build combinations. And when you're not given time, and we're not seeing things off the field at training and whether he's connecting and got really good alignment with his other players. But when you've got so many injuries and you're throwing players in all these different positions, wherever you can, to get a team on the field, it's difficult. It's difficult to have to be able to know what a player looks like. When Britton Nickera is hitting a hole, his half and 5/8 know exactly what he's going to do because they've got that connection. They've got that combination, for example.
You know, when we talked about curses, is this the Adam Reynolds curse?
Well, yeah, we always go back in hindsight, and there's a lot of us who are saying because of his lower back and hamstring injuries, which funnily enough he tears his hamstring on Thursday night, that they made the right decision back then. But in hindsight, it wasn't the right decision moving forward.
So there's an irony here that I don't think many people would pick up on. So when Wayne Bennett has, in some respects, inadvertently made a rod for his own back.
Yep.
So in 21, in his final year at the club, and they were trying to extend Adam Reynolds out, I think he wanted 2 years. South were prepared to give him 1.
Yep.
And there was a solution to that. That was if they let Liam Knight go to the Bulldogs before June 30. And Wayne Bennett, desperate to win a comp in his last year at South, said no. So it's ironic that that move that didn't just come off for Wayne Bennett in the 21 grand final against Penrith has come back to bite him on the bottom.
Yeah.
Because Adam Reynolds could still be at that club.
Well,
maybe.
Mark Ellison's been not only a proud player of the Bunnies, he's a general manager of rugby league for a lot of years. He's been moved to more in a recruitment role now. I'm led to believe Wayne has never really believed in like the general manager of rugby league role because he sees it as someone getting in the way. And I think maybe sometimes it's more about someone who's willing to say no to Wayne, which...
You need someone at a club that is prepared to say no, 1, to the coach, and 2, to the owner.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And in that club, you need someone who can say no to Russell. And I think Russell Crowe appreciates it.
So I think Blake Solly, who is one of the finest CEOs in the game and a hell of a nice guy as well and runs a really good outfit, and his track record tells us as well. I think at season's end, whether they get the wooden spoon or whether they don't, either way, it hasn't been a great season on a number of, and most notably injuries, but on a number of issues. When they sit down and do their review, I think moving forward, they need whether to reinstate Mark Ellison back into that role and give him a set of responsibilities that he was doing before, but probably even more so to be that overarching person that oversees the coach, the entire rugby league department, their pathways, their recruitment, all of it. And because moving forward, you've got to future-proof your club for the next 3, 4, 5 years. You just can't worry about now. Okay. Now, before we get on to some of the games that are upon us in round 23, Dusty Raider on the text line, you've stolen my thoughts, and I'm glad you have because I'd forgotten about it, and you just reminded me. Who's a club that has historically done really well with English players. They've recruited from England. They've had to recruit from England. The Canberra Raiders.
Canberra, of course. Canberra.
So he said thoughts on Dodd to the Raiders.
They've also had to let a few go.
They have, but the English players have served them really well. And Ricky knows that they play a completely different game in the UK, especially in the halves. I heard Matty talking about it yesterday.
Yeah.
They play a completely different half. George Williams was amazing for the Raiders. Usually some loose end back rollers, which have been really good. Those they're sort of like that lock forward, old school lock forward roles that the Poms have always produced some great players in that position, but their halves also, they can work in England. Andy Gregory, Sean Edwards, just to name a couple, have always come out with short stints and had some really good success. So I like what you're saying there, Dusty Raider, for Lewis Dodd to partner someone like an Ethan Strange, who's a dynamic six. Let Lewis Dodd get them around the field. He's got a great long kicking game like Jamal Fogarty has. And if South's going to pick up possibly half of his wage, if I was the Raiders, I'd be picking up Lewis Dodd every day of the week.
So what do they need, the Rabbitohs, do you think?
Well, let's look at their team on paper.
Give us a fit 17.
Okay, I'm saying
13.
I'm saying Jai Gray at fullback. Okay, I know Kat.
Controversial.
Kat, who's just a rabid Rabbitohs fan, is sitting behind the camera and behind the radio at the moment, or wherever you're listening to the phone. And she's either going to do a thumbs up or that. No
she's
way.
She's steaming. Kat.
Okay, Jai Gray fullback. She's saying thumbs up. We've got Tyrone Munro and also Alex Johnston on the wings. Yep.
Ooh.
Centres, Latrell Mitchell and Campbell Graham. We've got 5'8" Jack Whiten. We've got halfback Cody Walker. And lock forward, you've got Cam Murray. Back rows, let's throw in Jai Arrow and Tallis Duncan. In the front row, you've got Keon Kulamatangi, Brandon Smith.
In the middle, yep.
Yep. And let's say a Junior Totola or a Sean Kepi. And a Jamie Humphreys at 14, who can play hooker, lock, halfback, 5'8". That's a good team on paper. That's a really good team on paper.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So there is an upside to the Bunnies as long as they can keep
fit.
everyone on the same field. Now, 1300 01 1170 is our open line number. Adrian from Melbourne also wants to talk about the Bunnies. How are you, Adrian?
G'day, Sats. G'day, Webby. How you going?
Going well, buddy. How's it going down there? I'm hearing it's freezing down there. Now,
whereabouts is it, sorry?
We keep Melbourne. We keep hearing the sideline commentators saying it's 2 degrees, but it feels like 1. There's not much difference, is there?
It's cold, mate, but it's dry. You know, you've had horrible weather in Sydney this year. I turn on the TV all the time, and it's wet and mud and
pouring.
Horrible. Why would you want to live in Sydney?
Well, some would agree. So you want to talk about the Bunnies?
Yeah, mate. Look, Lewis Dodd. I feel it's been hardly done by. He hasn't been given a chance at all this year, mate. Let's see. You know, he's obviously done well. He's kicked a winning field goal in a World Club Challenge. He's played for England as well, so the guy can play. We've had English halfbacks over the years have done well, and you talk about historically who's been great clubs with the Englishmen over the years. You forgot about the 3 Burgess brothers that played in the South's 2014 Grand Final.
You're right.
So we should know how to handle them as well as anyone. Even Manly in 1976 had 3 Englishmen in their premiership side as well.
Yep. It's a good point you make, Adrian. And it's specific positions from the English players that I think work in Australia. Not all the positions work, especially defensively. But with those South players, the 3 Burgess brothers, of course. But the halfbacks generally, when it comes to the Australian game, and it depends who their number 6 is. It has to depend on what your number 6 is, to depend on who your number 7 is, if they're an English 7 or a 6. So I think he's still got a future in the NRL. Maybe not at South. I think it's too far gone there.
It seems like there are Super League clubs sniffing around him.
Yep. My mail is Dodd's going to be the Reggie the Rabbit's apprentice next year, Brisbane Ale says. Well, we have got a text here earlier on saying they've got that many injuries, you have to call for Reggie the Rabbit to play as well. So, hey, let's get to a break, because on the other side, we're going to talk about the games across the weekend, the Saturday games, of course the Sunday games, which SEN League and Fox League are all covering all those games as well. So let's get to a break here on Saturday League Kickoff. Saturday countdown.
That's what we do here.
There is a big weekend of rugby league. We're going to get through the Saturday and Sunday games. Let's touch on the things that we're going to looking forward to the most, whether it's matchups, whatever it may be. Everyone loves a good rivalry, and we're kicking off on a Saturday with a really good rivalry. Of course, live on Fox League and also live on the SEN League coverage as well at 2 p.m. Dragons versus Sharkies, 3 p.m. Jubilee Stadium. Now, the Sharkies are looking to cement a final spot. Yeah, funnily enough, with the Sharkies, they've been one of the major talking topics for a large portion of the season. When they were losing
under
games,
the radar.
Yeah, when they were losing the games. And, of course, Nico then becomes a topic of conversation now. But you are right. They're going along swimmingly.
They are. Oh, I see what you did there because it's a shark. The sharks, gotcha.
They swim.
Yeah, good, hilarious.
Hey, shout out to Joey and Maddie as well. You're going for a beer with them later on, aren't you?
That.
Aren't you going for a beer later on with Joey
No,
and Maddie?
I'm not. So thank you for taking that off the record conversation, just blurting it out.
Can I come?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if I would. Yeah, Sharks should win.
Okay, matchups. Let's look at some of the matchups. They've got a great front row rotation, the Sharkies, and that's the reason why. And we've spoken to Josh Hannay and Craig Fitzgibbon in the past about why they're all of a sudden just finding this form is because they've just gone back to mere basics of the game. And you do that through your front rowers because they've got to defend the middle. And if they defend the middle, they give everyone else a lot more confidence. If they can build a really good platform for Nico and Braden Trindle, Braden Trindle's taking more ownership of the side, which is obviously a ploy from Craig Fitzgibbon to take all that pressure off Nico and just give Nico a lot more time and space to make those decisions. And when he does them, they're so subtle and beautiful to watch. So the front rows have to take a lot of kudos into the way the Sharkies have found form.
Yeah, Blake Brayley's been...
He's on the back of that as well.
He's showing he's almost an origin quality hooker, hasn't he, at this point of the season. So, the thing with Cronulla is going to be the same as it's been the last couple of years. It all depends on what they do in September.
Mm. Joey just texted me and said, love you to come. I didn't think he was listening. So,
Joey, stop inviting people.
Joey, I don't know what my 7 o'clock looks like. I've got to go to dinner at 7 o'clock. I don't know. I'm going to go see Celeste Barber, the comedian, tonight.
Well, I can tell you Andrew Matthew Johns will be just as funny as Celeste Barber.
Damien Cook up against Blake Brayley. I like that Flano's keeping young King Tonga. I know there's been some defensive deficiencies, but I like that he's saying you're there for a number of weeks. You've got to make the position your own. And if you don't, well, then we'll have that conversation after 7, 8, 9 weeks. But for now, you've got the 6 jersey. You've got to protect it.
You don't think he needs a break?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I just think we are building. What we're trying to do is we're trying to build soft athletes. And what Ricky Stewart said about Ethan Strange.
I'm not saying just not playing. I'm saying go back to New South Wales Cup.
No, because
give Elias a little run.
No, I just think like Ricky says, you've got pressure on you. Suck it up.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's easier to say that to a team when you're leading the comp, when you're not winning, and the Dragons have been winning sporadically.
Well, that's what I mean. It's not like they're a tough footy team.
They are.
They're just lacking a bit of class and some marquee players.
Luciano Leilua up against Britton Nickera. Loving that as well.
You love a matchup, don't you?
I love the matchups. It's all I look forward to when I look at a game. I look at the matchups. That's all I froth for.
That's all you froth for in life.
That's all I froth for in life is matchups.
The matchups.
Dolphins v Roosters, Saturday, 5:30, Suncorp Stadium.
This is a good matchup.
Isaiah Katoa up against Sam Walker.
This is... Stop.
There you go.
Thanks.
Straight off the top.
You're more journo than former player.
A lot of halves are completely different to Sam. I love Sam. I love Isaiah Katoa. Defensively, when back rowers running him, talk about Joey. When you're a back rower and you ran at Joey, he used to just drop you on your head when you're allowed to drop players on their head.
He was a bit of. I'm not.
He had
now
a
that
great
he's listening, I
tackle
can say it. He was a bit of a dirty player.
It wasn't dirty.
He head slams.
He just loved the collision.
Touch judges.
He loved the collision. But Sammy Walker, he's like the modern day Alfie Langer, the way he does the little grubbers for himself. He doesn't seem to let anyone else know about it. And that's sometimes.
Is this Katoa?
No, this is
Sammy.
Walker.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
The unpredictability.
He plays
is
eyes up
something
footy.
Yeah.
He's an eyes up footy guy.
We should actually
less of a game manager.
You know what? We should talk about Saturday League kickoff not using certain terms.
I'm saying I'm taking the piss because
I
hate both of them.
Middle third, we can't use that.
Here, I'm going to drop another name when I have a beer with Roy Masters.
Oh gosh.
And Roy, it drives Roy mad. It drives him mad. It's like the game manager. We used to call them halfbacks.
Yeah.
Get me a
Exactly.
Reshes.
Give me that's what he drinks, Rashes.
Probably.
So Isaiah Katoa up against Sammy Walker is a matchup as well. And I like what the Dolphins are doing. This has got huge content. 9th place Roosters, 8th place Dolphins. The Dolphins have a huge for and against. Okay, the differential is going to hold them still in 8th position, even if the Roosters do beat them. But in saying that, I like what the Dolphins are doing with the amount of injuries they've got. Now they've got Herbie Farnworth out. They've got the ability now just to shift Jake Averillo, who's been named on the wing, just shift him into the centres.
He's a big loss, though.
Young Nafar, yeah, he is. I mean, he's top 2 centre in the game. Nafar, who's only a couple of games into his career, but he's an exciting young outside back. So I like what Christian Wolf has done there. Cody Nicorima's back as well. They've got these 2 really good back rows in Kurt Donahue and Oren Keeley, who are making a name for themselves. Conley Lema-Elu in the back row. So Jeremy Marshall-King at hooker. You've still got Isaiah Katoa, Cody Nikorima, and you've still got the hammer at fullback. That's a dangerous side.
They are.
Yeah.
They're a bit rocks and diamonds, the Roosters.
Yeah, they are.
Aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Absolutely.
But it is a top 8 shootout. Sorry, 8th shootout.
Yep.
You like that?
Cliches aren't becoming a problem for the players. The commentators need an embargo on the term. Sums it up perfectly, Lundy says. That sums it up perfectly.
It does.
A lot of your texts don't sum up a lot perfectly, Lundy. Hey, Bulldogs versus Warriors. Another game that has a huge emphasis on the top 4, especially more so for the Warriors. 7:35 at Accor Stadium. They're just limping at the moment, the Warriors, unfortunately. And the try against the Knights right on full time to Leka Halasima probably just put a couple of Band-Aids over what was emerging anyway when they lost Luke Metcalf.
They're certainly missing their halfback, aren't they? Is Lachlan Galvin going to play? Someone?
Okay, well...
Do you know anything?
No, I don't.
Neither do I.
And Gus was giving away nothing on the show on Monday night as well.
Doing the old Easter Island statue impersonation when he
like
loves
he
to do
always
that,
does.
just sitting there.
But I think with the Doggies, missing Connor Tracy, I know Jacob Carraz is a very good player. He's a State of Origin, level player. We know that. But Connor Tracy, I think, has been one of the Bulldogs' best players this year, most consistent players this year, especially last line of defence. But what's going to be interesting if he doesn't play Lockie Galvin, they did name in the extended bench, they named Toby Sexton, and they did Mitch Woods as well, but as they've shortened that to Toby Sexton, he would be the most obvious choice. Or do you put Bailey Hayward in the 7 and bring Toby Sexton onto the bench?
You've got to pick Sexton, don't you?
Well, you would think so.
If they don't, then they're off him. They are.
Yeah.
I reckon.
I don't think they're off him.
Well, they're just... He's definitely... Well, sorry, he's out of favour.
Out of favour.
Out of favour, probably. That's probably a soft way of saying it. Can I ask you this, Scott Sattler, as the legendary player on this panel? As the legendary player, do you think the Bulldogs can win, know how to win in the wet? And to play wet weather footy.
Well, it's going to be
they couldn't do it last week against
it's going to be another wet game.
Well, that's what I'm asking the question to you. Statistics
say no, but the way that their team is made up, they should be comfortable in the wet because they've got a lot of these I suppose more mobile players, these utility style players that can play in all conditions. And your class players play in any conditions. Stephen Crichtons and Matty Burton's and co's. Matty Burton's kicking game should be far more important in the wind, in the rain, I should say, the wet. Your Josh Currans and those sort of players in the wet are far more beneficial to your side than they are in the dry. So the statistics say no, they can't win in the wet, but they need to embrace it because their team is made up of players that should be able to handle the wet really, really well. Yeah.
Bit of wet weather football.
Okay, so...
Now, good.
So who are you? Sharks and Dragons? You're going Dragons. I'm
Drags.
going Sharkies. Dolphins, Roosters. I think the Dolphins probably at this stage.
It's up there, yes.
Doggies, Warriors. I'm going Doggies.
Me too.
I'd give the Warriors a bit of a chance if it was in New Zealand. Yep. Okay, SEN, Sunday, league coverage from 1:58 p.m, not 1:57, 1:58 for the 2 p.m. kickoff at Seabus Super Stadium. Titans up against the Rabbitohs. Titans haven't been too bad the last few weeks. They're showing something.
I reckon they're playing for the coach.
That game last week,
apparently,
to be 24-0 down after half time and to be able to show enough character And the best part about it was their key players stood up. Jaden Campbell, AJ Brimson, Mo Fodawaker was amazing. Jamin Jolf has been good. Regan Campbell-Gillard, Semi Verrills, they all stood up. And also this is without Tino. And this is what happens in a lot of teams is that when your best players are out, it leaves it up to the rest of your side to try and come up with something extra. And so having Tino would be ideal, but it's proven that that the other players have had to stand up a little bit more.
So Wayne's only ever only ever claimed one wooden spoon his entire career.
Where's that?
1977, captain coach of
South
in Brisbane.
There you go. Wow.
That's when people say he's never won a wooden spoon. Never claimed a wooden spoon.
I think Paul Broughton was the coach of that team in South. I think he had played against Brothers in the grand final one year. He was a player then, Wayne. And
Wayne said, "I'll never captain." And he just didn't want to be. He didn't want to coach. He said it's too hard to do both of them.
Oh wow!
There you go.
So he has won one, not in the NRL, but
not in the NRL.
Yep.
I haven't stuffed that up.
We need
I'm pretty sure that's
we need an embargo on the word galvanised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that a text?
Yep. The big news in the Titans Bunnies game is that Latrell Mitchell is apparently, if the reports are correct, will play. Listen, we've got to mention Indigenous round as well. Jaden Campbell was amazing last week. Latrell Mitchell looks like he's been past fit to play this game against South as well. Whether he starts, which you think he wouldn't come off the bench. That's a huge in for the Bunnies. But great for the Gold Coast as well, I think, from a fan's perspective. A lot of South fans live in northern New South Wales and southeast Queensland. To be able to go to that game, but also now with one of the stars of South playing is good signs for all.
Now, I know things sort of opened up against Brisbane last week for South, and Wayne Bennett said afterwards that they've just been up for so long. I hear out of the South camp this week that they are up for this game. They are just desperate they are desperate not to claim the wooden spoon. That's from people who attended training this week. I can't give up the source.
From a player who has received a wooden spoon,
you don't want to, do you?
It is the most humiliating thing ever.
That's the vibe I've got out of Heffron Park this
Shout
week.
out to you, Craig Gower, who someone tipped like a trailer load of wooden spoons on his driveway one in the off season.
Did they really?
Yeah, after the 2001 season at Penrith. Yeah, he got all these wooden spoons put in his letterbox all over his driveway. Yeah.
You know, Buzz, our good friend Philip Rothfield, once tried to go to the Melbourne Storm when they had their titles stripped and give him a wooden spoon at the club.
Who did?
Buzz.
He's relentless, your mate. Absolutely relentless.
That's why he's the notorious Buzz.
Now, Eels versus Cowboys, which will round out the round 23, 4:05 p.m. CommBank Stadium. Not sure what to make of this game. I don't know what to make of it. We've got a lot of para fans.
What can't you make?
Well, I like what Parramatta are doing. Of course, the Tigers have the bye, but I love what the Tigers are doing. So the Parramatta Eels are doing. I think they're heading in the right direction. I think they're making all the right decisions. Well done, Jason Riles, and all your coaching team and all your operational staff, everyone. The Cowboys, they're in a world of hurt at the moment. Defensively, just leaking way too many points and just...
They could win this game 44-42.
It's exactly right. This is what I can't make of it. Yeah.
It would be... Todd Payton would be tearing his hair out if he had any.
Yeah. So it's 13th place up against the 15th place Eels. Now, we keep talking about the Eels and how good they're going at the moment and how they're heading in the right direction. They're coming 15th. And the Cowboys are ahead of them on the ladder.
Yeah, but see, you can't judge the Eels on their wins and losses. I just think the way where they've started from at the start of the year, that's right. They're
and we've got a lot of Dragons fans talking on the Dragons earlier on. We can't get to all the text messages, but they're all saying, the Dragons. What we do love about is the effort. They're staying in the fight as well, and Parramatta are doing that as well.
That's rare patience from Dragons fans.
Yeah, and Beryl from Birrong is saying, "Go the Bunnies! I'll be there on Sunday." Cheering loudly. I'll even have a microphone cheering loudly, Beryl from Birrong says as well. Hey, so let's get to a break here and plenty to talk about across the weekend of the upcoming games as well. And on the other side, we're going to wrap up the show and what we can. We're going to get to as many texts as we can. We're not going to get to all of them, but we love everything all the input that you have every Saturday morning. This is Saturday League Kickoff with Sats and Webby. Well, that's it for another edition of Saturday League Kickoff.
What's a
with
buoy?
Sats and-
You forgot to tell us what a buoy is.
buoy.
What's a buoy?
So if I said, Andrew Webster's a buoy, it's like he's like a 9-ball. Do you know what a 9-ball
What's
is?
Yeah, I do. There's actually a few definitions of that. Well, you did call Andrew Webster, the Warriors coach, a wanker earlier in the year when we first started.
Called this one here a buoy. That's what I called him.
No, you called the Warriors coach a buoy, and he hasn't been speaking to us ever since.
Is that it? Is that like the drop
That's
mic?
me,
You
yep.
close the computer.
Yeah,
now,
that's it. I've had enough. Black
Belinda
t-shirt.
from Pack Pines on the Gold Coast. I bought my first house in Pack Pines, 1995.
How
It was on
much?
grand final day. It was $150,000 land and package. Land and house and land.
You bought it on grand final day.
I moved in on grand final day, 1995.
Right.
Yeah. PVL loves a rule change, and there's something I've noticed lately is how many close calls with long kicks like the 40-20 and the touch judges being a mile away. They're a long way away, the touch is, trying to dictate whether it's a 40-20 or not, but the bunker usually gives them a hand, doesn't it?
I tell you the other one I don't like.
What's that?
I don't like the referee when they have no idea whether, like, how could you tell whether Xavier Coates was out or not?
Oh, the touchy?
With the
With the bunker?
Yes. And Grant Atkins goes, I don't think it's a try.
Just go up.
I don't know. I don't know.
know.
That's what the video ref's there for.
Exactly.
For God's
the Rabbits
sake.
have an amazing record against the Titans, having won 17 of 23 and not lost on the Gold Coast for 15 years. Glory, glory, Nico and Port Macquarie. And also, boys, I'm a Dragons fan. We're rewarding mediocrity by re-signing Flanagan. I think you're heading in the right way, but, Michael, I'm not quite sure. I just like how you're in the fight all the time. I think it's really hard as a coach to be able to get players to.
It's not a reward. It's
connect.
It's more about stability.
Yeah.
Because the way the contract system is, you can't sign. They're after a marquee halfback. You can't sign them not knowing who the coach might be.
Yep.
With me?
Someone here saying we need a contradictory meter because he said the Bulldogs can't win in the wet, but yet we're picking them. No, I'm saying statistically they can't win in the wet, but they should win in the wet, and I think they will win in the wet.
Make up your mind.
But the Warriors are
Sats.
used to the wet, so I'm not quite sure now. Anyway.
I used to be undecided, but I'm not so sure now.
Okay, on the text line,
Bang,
I think
bang.
South made the wrong decision letting Reynolds walk and keeping Walker. Well, Cody Walker's still been very good for them, and they
When
were
he's
a
on the
very good.
field.
They were a very good combination, weren't they? The both of them. Hey, we love all your texts about whether it's expansion, whether it's Cam Munster, whether it's the Dragons, the Bunnies, everything we've spoken about today. It's been another Saturday edition of Saturday League Kickoff, and hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you very much for Ivan Cleary coming on the show, all the callers, all the texts as well. Webby, thank you very much.
No, thank you,
Enjoy
Sats.
having a beer with Maddie and Joey today. I'm just texting Joey back saying I'm not going anywhere.
As long as you
near
don't
both
give
of
the
you.
venue up, that's all that matters.
Okay. Hey, but most importantly, thank you very much to you for catching us on a Saturday morning. Enjoy the rest weekend of rugby league. For SEN, stick around. Crunch time is coming up.